blame mom and dad what they said or didn't say to me. I'm not blaming my husband or wife of what they did. I'm tired of talking about it, devil. You're going to have to let me up. And when you suffer long enough, you get to a point where you say, it's time to declare war. I've had enough to hear, and I'm ready to pull my sword, and I'm ready to fight. Some of you have been pushed around too long. You've been beat up too long. You let the devil dragging you around like you're a pet dog. Come over here. No. No. Sit. And you sit. He's commanding you and controlling you, and you're letting him do it. Rather than ripping that thing off of your neck and strangle that devil and say, you're going down, I'm not going to listen to you any longer. It's time to go to war. You may be broke, homeless, you may be helpless, jobless, but dry your eyes, straighten your back, and go to war. It's time to go to war. Okay, listen. How do I go to war? You war on your knees.
Come on.
You war in your worship.
Come on.
You war in your prayer. You war in your giving. You war in your love. You go to war. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm tired of being criticized. I'm tired of being pushed around. I'm tired of not having what this book says I can have. Now listen to this. Key. I'm stopping a minute. Joshua drew his sword. He began to fight. He's going to fight. As he began to fight, that's when the miracle happened. It didn't happen before he drew his sword. It happened after. Some of your miracles will not happen until you move into a war mode. A pity mode will not at all move God. See, somebody's in trouble today, and you won't get a move from God. God won't move until you draw your sword. See, the enemy's not fighting the vision and purpose just you have. He's fighting the one God has inside of you.
Come on.
Now look what it says here in this war. Look at this scripture here. It says this. Now understand, Joshua is fighting with his sword. He's fighting. God says he's going to be okay. The Amorites then began to run to Beth-horon. The Lord, it didn't say Joshua, the Lord destroyed them with a terrible hailstorm from heaven. They continued until they reached Azekah, and the hail killed more people of the enemy than the Israelites killed with a sword.
Come on.
So you got angels in heaven. Hey, get him. I got him. Don't worry. They're throwing snowballs, ice rocks from heaven. And the angels are picking them off. And Joshua, after the battle, is walking around like, I killed him. I killed him. Some ice on that guy's head. I don't know what happened to him. I didn't kill him. I didn't kill them all alone. Who killed them? It didn't happen until he was in the middle of the battle. See, some of you don't fight because you've already had this picture that you've developed in your mind that this thing's going to be so horrible, and what you don't know that somebody's standing behind you, that in the middle of your battle, God's going to go ahead
Thank you, Lord.
and he's going to see you through. He's going to fight for you. He's not going to Goliath was shouting at the Israelites day after day after day after day, and nobody's going to shut him up, and God had no desire to do anything without somebody starting the war. And when David started running out and says, I'll take him down, God says, finally, thank you, David. I'm tired of hearing the big mouth talk too, thank you. But I was not going to do anything. I had to have somebody that I could do the miracle through. I got to get them in the battlefield, though, to do the miracle. See, some of you are scared to fight, but you don't realize that when you start fighting in the earthly realm, God begins to fight in the spiritual realm, and that's what we see in the story. He begins to now take the enemy down. He begins to totally destroy them. God begins to throw these rocks down on them. Some things, listen, church, are going to die, and you're not going to know why. You're not going to be able to give the doctor credit for this one. Because, see, heaven begins to fight on your behalf when you start fighting. Some people that get saved in your family, it's just going to be a mystery. You're not going to be able to figure it out. Because what happened is God heard you praying on a Monday night for your boy that's wayward. Nobody even talked to him. All of a sudden, he just came to his senses like a prodigal son. God just began to nudge him in the middle of the night. started talking to him one-on-one. And he realized that he wanted his life changed, and all of a sudden he comes back to Mama. Mama can't figure it out. God began to do some war in the heavenlies because you do a war in the earthly realm. See, there are going to be some things restored that you don't know how they're going to get restored. There are going to be some phone calls that come and say, how'd you get my name for that job? I don't know. God begins to now do the war and finish what you have started. You've got to trust him in this. See, as long as you're looking at the enemy is going to convince you it can't be done. But if you just draw your sword, you may only have a pocket knife. You might only have some nail clippers. But whatever you have, you just decide that, you know what, I'm not going to just sit here in the midst of this and take it any longer.